Hello guys, and welcome to the Film Culture Podcast. This is our second episode, and today we're discussing Batman vs. Superman. My name is Declan, and I'm here with...
I'm James, happy to be here.
Hi James. So on today's episode, first part, we're going to talking news. So James, do you got the news for us?
Alright, yep I do. Alright, first up. Following the announcement of Indiana Jones 5 being announced by Disney last week, something's also come out that David Koepp, who has many more previous writing... Oh god. He has a lot of other scripts under his belt. Mm-hmm. He's been attached to co-write Indiana Jones 5. Thoughts on that as I pull out the rest of his archive?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he is Steven Spielberg's normal collaborator, like normal writer partner, right?
I know for sure that he's worked on a couple of the past Indiana Jones movies. Yeah, he's also worked on Jurassic Park and War of the Worlds, so that goes with your Steven Spielberg connection. Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure, because I thought that was, because I was listening to Collider and I thought they said something about that, but I was not absolutely sure. So I think it's good. I have heard that like some of his films that he's written are like phenomenal, and that the other films he's written aren't as good. And it just makes me upset because I really wish they would have brought that one guy, like we were talking last week, that guy that had that incredible script. And I wish they would just use that one.
Yeah, that's a good idea. You have to even look at the times to some extent, because if it was so good well back then, they have to make modifications to it, and the studio's going to get overly involved. Yeah. With the new script, you're gonna keep the original one intact as a fan memory.
Yeah. And
he will know that it will be untainted by the studio system.
Yeah.
And just going through his filmography, he has had some good ones like Jurassic Park. He also wrote Spider-Man, Soldiers back in '91. Then again, he also wrote Crystal Skull, Lost World, Carlito's Way, Death Becomes Her. Mediocre to awful films. I mean, some writers, especially over the course of all the time that he's been writing, you're gonna have some misses in there. So I'm lukewarm to the whole reception scenario.
The problem I have with that is that he's the one that wrote Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
But I thought he probably did a lot of that with George Lucas involved too, that I'm not giving him credit with. And so if him without like Lucas, that might be pretty good.
I'm just going through the Crystal Skull writing credits right now. Yeah, Koepp wrote the main screenplay, but the story was originally developed by George Lucas and Jeff Nathanson, who I have no idea who that is. So Koepp probably did what he could to try and make some sense out of Lucas's ideas, but you can't just say that it was just his fault.
Yeah.
When writing the whole thing.
Yeah. I'm still upset that they're making this film and that they're not going I wish they would just like leave the Indiana Jones franchise alone.
Yeah.
But like I said last week, money. Yeah.
I mean, ideally the scenario would be Harrison Ford would still star per se.
Yeah.
But you have a younger person take over the role as a lead indie, like Chris Pratt, like everyone says.
Yeah.
But knowing the studios, not going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what's our next piece of news?
During an interview on an Australian morning TV show, Arnold Schwarzenegger brought up the fact that they were planned for Terminator 6, following the, let's say, mediocre reception of Genesis. What are your thoughts on this?
I don't really know about it. I'm like speechless when this is being brought up. Because, he said he wasn't going to act anymore when he became governor, and then he became governor, and then all that stuff happened, and now he's back to acting. I don't know. I think that should just die. I feel like that should have died after, like, the second one. The second one was good. The third one, fourth one, fifth one, whatever one we're on now, it's just horrible. What are your thoughts?
I have never seen a Terminator film, because I've been busy watching my friends, obviously.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I do own the second one on Laserdisc though, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Do you have anything to play Laserdisc?
No, I didn't know it existed until my friend had a garage sale, but that's beside the point. Uh, I mean, we haven't had a good one since T2, but
Yeah,
the rights revert back to Cameron in 2019, so maybe they'll start to go into development around that time.
I
So
feel
maybe
like
he
that's
can.
not gonna happen though. I feel like the studio's just trying to use any chance they have at this film to get it out
Sure,
before Cameron.
just theoretically, he gets the rights back.
Yeah,
He still thought Genesis was the best sequel, other than Terminator 2.
yeah. I feel like they
Uh,
paid him lots of money to say that.
there was also said that Jurassic World was the best Jurassic Park sequel. So there's a lot of leeway here and there with your opinions.
Yeah,
So I don't know. It's hard to put a finger on whether it's good or bad. I'm assuming it won't be good, but we have time to. There's time to change that.
yeah. So what's our next piece of news then?
Georgia governors and their governing board has been looking to pass a bill that would allow local businesses to deny service to people who would go against their religious beliefs, mostly the LGBT community. Following it getting into circulation about whether the bill should be passed or not, Marvel and AMC have threatened to pull out of Georgia. The main risk here is that Georgia has one of the largest tax incentives in the world for filming. If Marvel and AMC pull out, that's billions of dollars of revenue lost. What are your thoughts on this?
Is that billions of dollars lost for Georgia or for Marvel? Do you know?
It should be Georgia.
Georgia.
I don't know exactly what tax incentives are, since I'm not too into the movie making community. I'm only there to watch them so
Yeah.
far.
Yeah,
So,
I'm not sure how I feel. I mean, I feel like people should just need to grow up and stop making such a big deal about this. I mean, I personally am Christian, and I think that we shouldn't be discriminating against people. So I don't know. It's a very controversial topic, especially on Easter.
oh God, yeah. I didn't realize
So
that. Crap.
I'm not really sure. I think it's going to be something that's going to have major repercussions for a while now. And I just can't wait to see how it develops.
I know they're talking about it in some other cities and states. One of them was had the same thing happen in another one, and it was shot down because of the I forgot what it was. It was shot down.
Do you think
And
Georgia's going to like not pass the law because of
oh
the
no, they
boundary?
will not pass it if they want to keep their city organized and not to become Detroit, would have to file for bankruptcy because they lose all that revenue. It would be the smart decision to keep it out. Plus, that would be like what some of the states did after they illegalized segregation. It still exists today. It's gonna be a slow weaning of gay hate per se.
Yeah.
So it won't be an immediate thing, but it'll be nice to do. It'll be that first wave of people realizing that it's not a good thing to discriminate.
Yeah. Okay. What's our next topic?
Following a lukewarm opening weekend. Let me restart that. Following a lukewarm opening weekend box office for Allegiant, the studio has announced that they will be doing budget cuts for the next movie, Ascendant.
Yeah.
Having read the book, there is a lot of extra CG that's going to be put into Allegiant and the next film. Lost complete interest in them because they're just bad movies. But cutting the budget won't be a good thing because being at the fourth movie, actors are probably going to have the salaries at their highest.
Yeah.
But other than that, what are your opinions on the whole thing?
I'll be completely honest, I haven't seen any of the Divergent, Allegiant, Detergent movies at all.
You are saving yourself.
I mean, I just feel like they're such a copycat of just the whole Hunger Games, and I feel like they were just all terrible. I think I watched like 5 minutes of one, and I got completely confused, and so I kind of just gave up on them. I mean, I feel like the studio shouldn't be cutting their last budget. I feel like this last film that came out in theaters shouldn't have gotten that far. Like, how far are they right now?
They're on the third movie.
Is that the one that just came out?
Yes.
Yeah,
But
they should have been. They should have been done after the first movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, like Iron Number 4 or Golden Compass or things like that.
Yeah.
The issue being that they split the last one up into two movies, like I said.
Yeah.
So you're already just squandering story, and then you're gonna have the budget cut, and it's just not gonna be good. But the movies weren't good in the first place. I think that this might be the final nail in the coffin for people realizing that, you know what, maybe I shouldn't be wasting my money on something that I can see already that's much better.
Yeah, like Harry Potter or Hunger Games, or
Yeah.
But even Hunger Games, I feel like. Did you see the last Hunger Games movie?
Yeah.
Was it good?
Nah. I'm weird because for me the third one's the best one. I like the pacing in it, but most people don't think that. So I'm in the minority.
My film credibility is about to get like really wrecked right now, as it already has. But I saw the first one in theaters. I saw like the Hunger Games part of the second one. Like I didn't watch the first half. I pretty much came in as soon as the Hunger Games started. And then the third one I saw in theaters. So I haven't even seen the first three completely. And I haven't seen the fourth one. And I just feel like they're so overrated, in my opinion.
I wouldn't say overrated, because I mean there definitely is some sort of hype level surrounding them. But even critics, they realize that they're not the best movies. They're just popcorn flicks.
Yeah, for popcorn flicks, they're good. But like the first one was good, the second one was good. I agree with you. The third one was really good, from what I saw. But I feel like almost the young adult. It was like the only one, the young adult thing that actually picked up, and it was like the only book I've actually like read that's been turned into a movie. But I only read the first book in class. Haven't read any of the other books, so I don't know how faithful they are to the adaptation. Because I know, spoilers if you haven't seen the last Hunger Games movie, does Prim die? Because doesn't it happen in the last book?
Yeah, it's actually really funny how they handle it, because it's like, oh yes, the world is saved, we can revert back to a normal society, and then just out of nowhere, just these things are falling out of the sky, and you see her look up and Prim catches one of them, and then just explosions and cut to black. Just out of nowhere, just tons of people dead. Mm-hmm. It was handled really badly. Mm-hmm. And it was meant to be this huge emotional turning point in the novel where you realize that not everyone's good. Mm-hmm. But to symbolize that no matter who's in control in the government, it's still not going to end well. Or there's still going to be people corrupt in it. But it was laughable how they handled it.
Yeah. I remember the end of the third one being controversial by how they ended it. And, yeah, I felt like, I don't know. Okay, next topic, I guess.
All right. Before we move on to trailers, I'd like to mention, or I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the sudden passing of Gary Shandling.
Yeah.
He didn't mean much to me. I didn't see much of his work outside of the Iron Man franchise, which isn't much to say.
Yeah, he was only in the second, and he was in, what's it called? Winter Soldier, too.
Yes, I believe he was in the third one, too. But
oh, yeah, he was in the third one, that's right.
Yes. But yeah. Other than that, do you have much affiliation with him?
I don't. I wish I knew his filmography. I feel like he's one of those guys that I probably could say I've never heard of his name. But if I saw him in film or saw a picture of him, I would tell you, like, instantly. Like, I didn't know everyone was making, when the news came out, I didn't hear about it until I saw like something on Conan, and when they went through it, and I was like, oh, this guy. And I remember him being funny, but I know I've seen him in something outside of the Iron Man franchise that I loved him in. But it is sad that he's gone, and I wonder if they're going to do anything with the Marvel, if they're going to touch anything.
They might do it for the Civil War, because they can squeeze that in, especially
they could do that with like dialogue, just audio.
He was also the voice of Vern in Over the Hedge, the turtle, if you saw that as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the only thing I've really seen him in, though.
Yeah.
Makes me feel sort of bad.
Yeah.
But alright, so back to the trailers.
Okay.
This week, the movie War Dogs had its first trailer release, starring Jonah Hill and Miles Teller about a couple gun runners who manipulate the government system to get rich.
Yeah.
What are your opinions on the trailer?
I liked it. I thought I was really nervous when I like first saw like just like the thumbnail because I was like, oh, Jonah Hill, Miles Teller. I was like, and the main thing I was reading about is not Jonah Hill but Miles Teller.
Oh yeah,
He's such a great actor, but after Fantastic Smelly Four, I was a little
Fantastic
scared.
Four.
Fantastic Four, yeah, that's nice. But I liked the trailer. It kind of reminded me of Wolf of Wall Street, but it also reminded me of like again Iron Man, like the first like 10
Yeah.
minutes of Iron Man, and just like the atmosphere of it. It almost reminds me of the Nice Guy movie too that's coming out.
Oh, I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, I can't. It reminds me of like a modern day Nice Guys movie, but a little different. But like the chemistry they have is what I liked from the trailer the most.
I think the only thing that really stood out to me in the trailer that was, well, other than the comedy, was Jonah Hill put on a lot of weight for it.
Yeah, I saw that. It's back.
I feel like he had something in with his agent where he said, okay then, I'm gonna go back and forth for weight between movies because I want to eat, but I also want to win the Oscar, so it's sort of hard to choose.
Yeah, and I think he could. I haven't seen the movie, but the way they set it up, it looks like it could be an Oscar contender, almost like Wolf of Wall Street was.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the August released it, I'd totally be in for that.
When is it released?
August 1st.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe not. But yeah, I'm actually nervous about that release date because I feel like this should be more of like a November thing. Because I don't think like isn't August like Doctor Strange? I mean,
That's November.
November. Oh, okay. Maybe they shouldn't put it in November then, because my whole argument was for August was gonna be like they're gonna be competing with Doctor Strange. Oh wait, no. Suicide Squad is August, right?
That's September.
Okay, never mind.
Okay, continue talking. I'll look it up, see if there's anything big coming out in August.
I thought I just named everything that was big, so maybe this is the smart call because it seems like November and October are gonna be crowded with superhero films, which I'm not complaining because I'm pretty sure actually now I think about it, it's like Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Suicide Squad. I think Rogue One and Doctor Strange are all coming out during like the Oscar season.
Yeah. So I have it here. Suicide Squad comes out in August, but around the same time you have Sausage Party, Pete's Dragon, Kubo and the Two Strings, and a couple weeks after is actually is Hand of Stone, which is a boxing movie starring Robert De Niro, surprisingly enough.
Yeah.
And we go into September, which is a bunch of Oscar stuff. So it probably won't be that good at the box office, but I'm fingers crossed it's gonna be a good movie.
Yeah, I almost feel like that's gonna be like the perfect week to go to like a double feature, just like Sausage Party and this.
No, quite. I mean, I literally everything except for the weekend of my birthday, I have something bookmarked. It looks like a great year for movies as long as nothing is bad or a letdown.
Yeah. So, what's our next piece of news?
The Lego Batman teaser trailer is dropped. The humor is very much in the vein of the Lego movie coming out back in 2014. Mm-hmm. So, see, as I stumble over my words here, this one will star Will Arnett again as Batman, along with some other people like, Michael Cera as Robin, Zach Galifianakis as the Joker, and Mariah Carey as the mayor of Gotham. What are your opinions on this?
I saw the trailer early this week, so it's hard for me to remember. But the thing that sticks out in my memory is the whole this from the studio that brought you Batman and Robin, and they went through it, and you could tell when they got to Batman and Robin and Batman Forever, they slowly pasted up the transitions from text, and then they slowed it back down at Dark Knight, which I kind of found funny. And yeah. I love Will Arnett's version of Batman. It's so comical and great, and I'm really looking forward to this movie. I'm a huge Batman fan, and I wasn't familiar with the cast that Mariah Carey or Zach Galifianakis. I almost wish that there's a Mark Hamill cameo and Kevin Conroy. That'd be so cool.
Okay, yes, you've brought my hopes up. You shouldn't have done that. Personally, I didn't like the first one that much, but I also saw it with my parents, and my dad hates animated movies.
Oh.
So I'm sort of pessimistic about the whole thing, but with the cast. You also have Ray Fiennes as Alfred Pennyworth and Rosario Dawson as Batgirl, coming from Barbara Gordon origin. So we won't see her in a wheelchair, which will be happier for the kids.
Can you imagine if they did like a sausage party type thing with like the wheelchair, like the Joker?
I'm getting my hopes up.
Like-
I really want to see just Legos go bloody murder. That'll just be fantastic.
Oh, that would be so funny. Like, just see like the Jason Todd storyline get played out with Zach Galifianakis as the Joker.
No, it would be you have the Joker come in and shoot someone, their head would just fall off, and then red studs come out flying out of the neck hole.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that would be. I would just love to see like him like push Barbara Gordon down a set of stairs and like just slowly her like limbs are breaking off.
That would be horrible.
That's very morbid. But yeah. Okay, so we're about at our spot for the 30 minutes.
We have one more trailer we can get through in the next couple minutes.
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
All right. The Deepwater Horizon trailers come out, which stars Mark Wahlberg and a bunch of other huge ensemble cast. I don't know much about the movie yet. I only first heard about it when the trailer was released. Having recently seen it in the past half hour, what are your thoughts on it?
What are your thoughts on it?
It was. People are. I don't know. I am sort of underwhelmed because everyone else is praising it beyond all belief.
Mm-hmm.
But it had almost no story to it.
Mm-hmm.
All you really know is the fact that he works at an oil rig with a bunch of other famous people, and then it falls apart. I think people were praising the Star Wars trailer for not giving anything away, but this one doesn't have the same how do you say, je ne sais quoi, to the whole thing. But I don't know, the cast is good, the director has a really good history, so I have my hopes up a little bit, but not too much.
Uh-huh. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I was rushing to get here on time, and we still started 5 minutes late. I did not get to see the trailer.
Oh.
But I will agree with whatever you just said with your opinions, cause but it's got Mark Wahlberg, and it's about an oil tanker, so that's gonna be interesting.
I'll tell you some of the cast, and I'll explain the trailer to you. Mm-hmm. All right, it's directed by Peter Berg, who did Lone Survivor recently.
Yeah.
It also stars Dylan O'Brien, Mark Wahlberg, Kurt Russell, Kate Hudson, John Malkovich, Gina Rodriguez, and I swear I saw what's his name, the person from Step Brothers, John C. Reilly. I thought I saw him too, but the whole thing about the trailer is little girl's talking or Mark Wahlberg's daughter is talking to him for a class presentation about what her dad does for a job. And every time she explains something, it cuts back to the oil rig.
Oh, that's kind of interesting.
Yes, and she's explaining how it works and how she's stealing the energy from the dinosaurs to fuel everything. Mm-hmm. And the second she starts explaining it, they're like, "Oh yeah, you did a good job," and then everything just goes wrong. Nice. And the second that happens, it cuts back to the oil rig, huge explosion, and it cut to black and it shows the title.
Wow.
So, I mean, other than the rushed delivery of the whole thing that I just gave, it has almost nothing set up for it, which could be good for a mysterious marketing campaign. But since it doesn't have a huge fan base behind it, it might not work well for its box office. Yeah.
The only thing I can say about it is that it's going to be better than Transformers 4, hopefully.
Hopefully.
If it is not, that would be the worst thing. But with that good of a cast, and not directed by Michael Bay, I feel like it's got to be.
Well, if you want to pull the cast argument, I could bring up movie 43 and end what you're asking.
Okay, yeah, never mind. I take that back. Hopefully that does not turn out like this, but on an oil rig. Okay, guys, well, that has been our first 30 minutes. We're going to come back talking non-spoiler review of Batman vs. Superman with a special guest. So tune in 5 minutes to hear that. See you guys. Are you not going to say bye, James?
Bye.
Hi, guys, we're back. It's time for Batman vs. Superman discussion. But first, we need to introduce our special guest, Carl Champion Jr., the
creator of the Film Club.
Yeah, of the film
and
club.
host, or one of the hosts, of the phenomenal Film Club Movie Show podcast.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you. That's
Okay,
great.
Carl, would you describe what the film club is for people that don't know about it?
Well, the film club is, it started as just a Facebook group with me and one of my buddies. And we just loved talking about movies. And one day we decided that we would try to find other people on the internet that love to talk about movies the same way. But one of the things that was important to us is that it wouldn't become a thing like kind of like IMDb is, where most of it is people trolling each other, to be honest with you. That's what it turns into a lot of the times. And one of the things that we wanted to focus on is making a place where you could discuss film and you could be nerdy about it and not be subjected to that trolling or to that, to that ridicule or that kind of thing. And that's what it is. It's I believe that it's the largest film club of its kind, because it's a place where anybody that loves movies, anybody that likes movies, even a casual moviegoer can come and they can learn, they can discuss with people who really know we have a lot of experts at Film Club, and it's a place where you can really come to learn and to grow as a movie fan and to, and just to express yourself. And it's really important to us that you be able to express yourself without being subjected to any kind of, like I said, ridicule or anything like that. You can really just focus on what you love, and that's film, and that's one of the things that a lot of us are nerdy about, and I think you guys are too, from what I understand.
Yeah, we owe the film club to me and James' friendship, because that's where we met to start
Is
this
that right?
podcast. Yeah.
Wow. That's cool, man. How about that? Yeah, I recognize. I mean, obviously, Declan, I recognize you. James Spence, I think you've been around Film Club a little bit longer than he has, hadn't you?
Probably a year and a half by now.
Yeah, I feel like you've been around a long time. I recognize your name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got into the whole world of being a huge movie nerd back in 2014 with Watch Mojo, which are incredible people, depending on who you ask.
Sure. Yeah,
but then I drifted around between directors and stuff, and I was like, I said one day, screw it, I might as well look for the nerds like myself, and I realized there are hundreds of thousands of them. You guys were one of the first pages I found.
It's
I've been happy ever since.
Yeah, that's great, man. Yeah, thank you for joining, man. Really, how'd you find it? I'm just curious. How'd you find it?
Like I said, one of the easiest things to look up if you're looking for something like that is Film Club, because it's so easy to.
Right,
to understand everything.
We love the name, man. That was actually the guy that I started it with, Jesse Peden, the guy that I started it with. That was his idea. He said, we should just call it just Film Club, and I was like, you don't think that's too general? He was like, nah, dude, let's just call it that. And yeah, so I think that's been a big part of our growth, is being so easy to find.
Yeah, one of the other ones I follow is Cinema Discussions, which also has the same simple branding name, except for a little more complex.
Definitely, yeah.
But yeah, if it wasn't for you guys, I probably wouldn't.
That club started by Adam Bilbrey. He was in Film Club before Cinema Discussions was a thing. He was in Film Club, and he really liked to share his reviews on movies, and. I don't know, maybe he just didn't get enough attention on his posts or whatever, but he ended up leaving Film Club shortly after he joined it, and he started Cinema Discussions. And I believe that's the second largest one on Facebook, at least. And, we've had some things go on with Cinema Discussions before. We've had some wars and it's been fun.
Yeah. And you guys have a great podcast, too.
Oh, thank you, man. No, thank you. Stephen Billings, our producer. He's our, executive producer in chief, and he does a real good job editing the show. And just came out with a new episode today. Actually, just dropped about noon.
Sweet.
So,
what did you guys discuss this
episode 18? On that one, well, we did our FC focus on Man of Steel because we knew BBS. The show was initially supposed to drop on Thursday, right before Man of Steel or Batman vs Superman came out, but we had some technical issues and it ended up coming out today. Mm-hmm. But we discussed Man of Steel. We kind of broke that down in what we call our FC focus, where we really focus on one specific issue or one specific movie. And outside of that, we talked about the Sausage Party trailer. which I thought was phenomenal. And we talked about the new venture by Sean Parker, who's attempting to come out with something called the Screening Room, where instead of going to the theater, you pay 50.
Yeah,
you pay
we haven't had time to bring that up yet.
Yeah. We talked about that, and then we always do a 5 favorites, or our 5 favorite of one thing or another. And on this episode, we did our 5 favorite superhero costumes in film. So that was a lot of fun. We had Captain America, Spider-Man, Deadpool. We had a couple of them in there, and that was a lot of fun, I thought. So it's a pretty good episode. It really is. I feel like we're getting better as a podcast each time, and I think you guys will too. For sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah. And so far, we've just followed the format we're doing now, which is news and then a review. Since something's big's coming out next week, maybe we can do something like the 5 favorites. Mm-hmm. Something like that, where we can not focus on the review, but something more fun, per se.
It don't hurt, man. It doesn't hurt, man. It's really great, man. It's a lot of fun. A lot of it is like, a lot of it's research. Like, a lot of the fun of it is trying to think of different things that, our 5 favorite, like one time we did our 5 favorite scenes in the bathroom. And that one was a lot of fun, to think about like scenes where the guys are in the bathroom. Maybe they're taking a, I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss on your show, but they're taking a poop.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, they're taking a shit on the show, or, they're just in the bathroom for one reason or another. That episode was a lot of fun. And we do stuff like that, man. And it's great, man.
You had Dogma in that, right? You had Dogma.
No, we didn't have the Dogma one. We had I can't remember what all 5. I know we had Austin Powers in there.
Oh yeah.
I know we had. I wish I could remember all of them, but
did you have Full Metal Jacket?
Do what?
Full Metal Jacket.
Oh man, we should have put that one in there.
Oh, dang it!
Yeah. That was a good one. That was a great one.
Cooper Jumper's bathroom scenes, and that's one of the best.
We had Detroit Rock City in there. That was one of them. That was a really good one. I don't remember any of the other ones, but yeah.
Okay, so Batman vs. Superman. Talking about this, it has a lot of mixed reviews, for sure.
Mixed is an easy way to put it, yes.
It's definitely what they call polarizing, and at the film club page, it's actually been a little difficult to deal with because, like I said, we try to keep an environment where it's safe to talk about what you love, and with this movie coming out, the way that Rotten Tomatoes, and when I say Rotten Tomatoes, I mean the critics, the way that they treated the film versus the way that the public treated the film was vastly different. That's why I say it's really polarizing, because the critics, a lot of the critics were basically shitting on this movie, and then you go back to the other side of it, and you've got these the fans of it who are loving it to death. And I'm just so glad to be on the side of the fans, because I adored this film. I really loved this movie.
Yeah, James, what was your general consensus of the film? Like, what was your thoughts? Did you like it or not?
Personally, I absolutely loved it. It's been something that I've been loving forever, because Batman is obviously my favorite superhero. I mean, I know a lot of people would agree with that, but Batman is anytime you bring Batman into a movie or any type of like entertainment situation, Batman's something that I love, man, and I'm looking for that. And this movie gave me something that I've been looking for a real long time: Batman versus another superhero. And I don't know how else to say, except by saying that during their fight in this movie, my heart was racing. Mm-hmm. I mean, it gave me everything I wanted. Mm-hmm. It really did. I absolutely adored the film. I really did.
I think the easiest way for me to summarize my personal experience is I saw it with 3 friends, one of which hates Batman because he's not technically a superhero because he doesn't have powers.
Sure.
One of which is a casual fan of superhero movies, only because she can love staring at Robert Downey Jr. The other one is he loves superhero films, but he doesn't know the lore. I'm a super nerd there. So every time they do like a quick flash back to the comics or something, I'm just freaking out in my chair, making all these weird hand gestures and squealing a little bit.
Sure.
I'm getting weird looks from all of them.
Well, you appreciate the Easter eggs, and I think that's something about this movie. I think it's more for the people that can appreciate those Easter eggs. I don't think that. I mean, me personally, I like this movie a lot more than most of the Marvel movies that I've seen. But I feel like Marvel puts a large focus on making the casual moviegoer, as much as the big comic book movie fan, appreciate what they're trying to do. And I don't think that this movie really did that. I don't really think this movie catered to the casual movie-going public. I think they just made I feel like Zack Snyder just made a movie that was for comic book fans to appreciate a comic book situation. And that's what this was. In many ways, I felt like.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it more than like the critics liked it. I was definitely I haven't seen Deadpool yet, but
it's great, man.
It's my
Shame.
Since I haven't seen Deadpool, it is my favorite superhero film that's came out. Which
really,
that's the only one that's came out this year so far. But I think it's gonna be hard to beat. I think Civil War probably has a good chance. I think this will probably definitely top Doctor Strange though.
Yeah, well, I hope Doctor Strange is better. I'm confident in it because Benedict Cumberbatch is an amazing actor, and I've been looking forward to this for 3 or 4 years. As soon as he signed on, I'm like, that's perfect. That is the perfect casting because, I mean, when you think about Cumberbatch and what he's done in the past, where he's playing Sherlock Holmes or any of the other roles he's played, I mean, he's fantastic. You know what I'm saying? He's like a Daniel Day-Lewis level type of actor when he wants to be. And when you get somebody like that in the movie, and then you take somebody like him, and he's so talented, and then you got somebody like Chiwetel Ejiofor to play the Baron von, I don't remember his name, but he is playing the main villain in the movie. I mean, you've got 2 Academy Award caliber actors playing versus each other.
Yeah. And
that's it's perfect, man. I'm really excited about that. Honestly, go ahead.
You also have Tilda Swinton as the Ancient One, which is sort of his mentor, I think. And she's also had a nomination, I think, for when you talk about Kevin back in 2011. So you have 3 Oscar caliber actors in there, plus who else knows that's being added on now or being hidden from us.
Yeah, I mean, and when we need to talk about Kevin, that's a phenomenal movie too, and she was amazing in it. You're not wrong about that.
Absolutely.
You're absolutely right. I mean, there's a lot. They had a lot going for it. Honestly, the movie that I'm looking forward to the most is Suicide Squad, which is another comic book property that
That's what I'm looking forward to the most too.
That looks great, and that last trailer, and it's going to be the last trailer I'll watch. I'm not interested in seeing any more trailers. A lot of times when once I make the decision that are really like, I'm in. No matter what, I'm in. I'm going to see this movie opening day. Once I make that decision, I'm done with trailers. I don't watch any more trailers because I'm ready to see whatever else they have for me in the theater. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's a mistake that a lot of movie fans make is they read every piece of news and they watch every trailer. And then what that does is it builds up their own expectations for what they're going to see.
Yeah.
And then if the movie doesn't meet all of those expectations, kind of a disappointment to them. And I feel like that's a big mistake that a lot of people make.
Yep.
I could not agree more. But like just from just get an understanding of how you think, where'd you stop on Star Wars? Because for me personally, I stopped after the world trailer, which was right before they started pushing the 10 or 20 TV spots on you a day.
When did I stop watching the trailers?
Yeah, for Star Wars.
After the teaser.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even really need to see the teaser for that one. Yeah, I was done after that. I mean, Star Wars is one of those things where even if I don't even know really how to describe it, but Star Wars is one of those things where no matter what they put on the screen, I'm gonna have to see it because I feel like it's one of those. I feel like it's one of those things where you need to have an opinion about it. If you're going to discuss movies with big movie fans, Star Wars is one of those things that you absolutely have to have an opinion about right away, or you're going to be left behind and you're not going to be able to continue these conversations. And not only that, but it's going to get spoiled for you if you don't. So that's one of the big reasons that I try to get to the theater immediately for stuff like that.
I started Star Wars opening day Friday night, and someone had seen it Thursday night showing, and they had spoiled it over Facebook. in my community. Like I live in Montana, which isn't that big of a state, but we were on like the headline news because there was one of our schools in my town got shut down because someone threatened another kid with like they were going to shoot them because they spoiled Star Wars on Facebook.
Wow.
It was that big of a deal. Like, we were on the headline news. That's like the only time we've been on the headline news.
I would shoot him too. Fuck that.
I might have to do that too.
I think we should, James, we need to put this down, that we need to do like a whole just like show about like the reaction to people like spoiling a movie. Because like just with Star Wars alone, there was like a movie theater in California that like two people coming out of the theater spoiled someone, and the people they spoiled in front of were like huge Star Wars fans dressed up. So you had like 3 Ewoks, like 2 stormtroopers beating these 3 guys on the ground. And I guess the police the police officer came.
You know what? It's an asshole thing to do. I don't care what you know or what you... Yeah. I mean, that's just a straight-up asshole thing to do. If you know somebody is really into something and they can't wait to see it and you ruin it for them, you deserve an ass whooping, period. I mean, that is just... It's just a messed up thing to do.
Amen to that.
Yeah. Now, back to Batman vs. Superman.
Sure.
I like the... There's been a lot of hate on the DC universe, how they're handling it. I like the tone that they established with Man of Steel, and it carried on into this. And even with what Suicide Squad looks like, it looks great. And I feel like it's one of those things, it looks weird from the outside, and you have to get like adjusted to it. And once you get adjusted to it, you're gonna have so much fun. Like, that's how I felt with Gotham, the show that came out. I watched the first episode. It was very stylized and very, I don't know even how to describe it, and it just was off-putting. But once I got used to it, that show I've been watching it like non-stop, and I love it. And I feel like that's how their DC universe is going right now too. And I feel like if you like Man of Steel, or just give it a chance and get used to it, you will love Batman vs. Superman.
I think so too. I do think it's definitely a better movie than Man of Steel.
Yeah.
Which, don't get me wrong, I thought Man of Steel was great. I really enjoyed Man of Steel for a lot of reasons. But I understand a lot of the problems that different people had with it. And I feel like with Batman v Superman, I feel like they answered a lot of those.
Yeah.
And they improved on them, and they answered a lot of the questions that people had in Man of Steel. And I feel like not only that, but I feel like they effectively left enough things open that you're really curious about where the story goes. You know, and I feel like there's a lot of, you know, kind of like the way that Star Wars was there's a lot of questions about where the story can go, but it's not so much that it's like, well, I don't really like this because I need to know. Like, I can find out a lot of this later and it'll be fine. You know, but I feel like that's kind of a problem that some of the people had, was that they wanted more questions answered than, you know, what it needed to answer. It doesn't need to answer all those questions right now. Wonder Woman is an example. You know, Wonder Woman's intro was fantastic when she first came out in uniform and she was ready to fight.
Oh, yeah.
It was amazing. I mean, and the music, Hans Zimmer's score, and, you know, that gives you a real appreciation for, you know, when you hear a score that good. I mean, the score of this movie was fantastic. And, you know, it's Hans Zimmer, you know, paired with Junkie XL. I mean, both of those men were nominated for Oscars last year, if I'm not mistaken. Both of them.
You are mistaken. Junkie XL was very wrongly snubbed out of a nomination.
I thought he was for Mad Max, right? I thought he wasn't.
You guys nominated him, but the Oscars didn't.
Wow. Oh, for the clubs. Okay. Well, the Clubbies is the only award show that matters, by the way.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
We nominate the real people, but yeah, you know, I mean, Hans Zimmer and Junkie XL. I mean, regardless of nominations, I mean, they're two of the best, you know, people that create scores. They're two of the best in the business, and they got together on this thing, and you can really see it. Like, I mean, I think my favorite one, the one that really impacted me the most, was the Wonder Woman when she came out and it played. I mean, that song is just straight up badass, you know, when she came in. But so much of it was great, and you know, it really shows, you know, the talent that Hans Zimmer and Junkie XL have. It really does.
Now there's a big thing. Oh, go ahead, James.
I've only listened to a little bit of the soundtrack. The only song that I can clearly remember loving is "Do You Bleed." funny title. I don't know when it is in the movie, but it echoes Hans Zimmer's style. Well, also
It's right before the fight. It's right before the fight. I heard that. Yeah, it's right before the fight starts. It's great, man. Yeah.
I love the Mad Max soundtrack, and just getting that again with Batman vs Superman. It was just so invigorating to hear.
Yeah, definitely.
And then back to you, Declan.
Okay, so there's some big themes that happen in this film. Some pretty, not even reveals that we've known, but we have our first introduction to the new Batman.
Mm-hmm.
What were your guys' thoughts on Ben Affleck's Batman?
Go ahead, James.
Oh, God. Everyone else loves him. I think that I saw echoes of early Ben Affleck again, which isn't a good thing.
Okay.
I mean, I love the way the action was directed, but there are certain scenes where he's dead. I do not see any passion in his line delivery. He gives it as stale as a first-year acting student. It is just so boring. But like I said, with the way the action is held, I completely forgot about it most of the time. It was when we went back to Bruce Wayne that I realized that this needs a lot of work.
Well, with a character like Batman, I mean, you really boil it down to how well they did as Bruce. You don't really look at, I mean, being under the cowl. I feel like being under the cowl is just fun. I mean, you're kicking ass, you're punching and kicking, you're doing whatever. Really, when you're playing Batman, what it boils down to is what did you do as Bruce Wayne? And to me, I thought for the character that he was trying to play, a weathered, older Batman that has already dealt with the Joker. I think he mentioned at one point, Gotham is Gotham doesn't respond. Well, I don't remember what he said. Gotham doesn't respond well to.
Gotham has a bad history with people who dress like clowns.
People dress like clowns. So I mean, this is an older, weathered Batman. He drinks. He doesn't mind killing people. You know, he's been through kind of the gamut of, you know, all of the things that come along with fighting crime. And, you know, for that purpose, I feel like Ben really nailed, you know, that kind of person. And that's what he was going for, you know.
And to add on to what you're saying, Carl, like even Alfred was talking about, like, just with the introduction of Superman, like the power and like the being of Superman, it makes him almost like jealous, envious, and feel like he's not as big as he was before. He's not the only one on the scene right now. You can see that in him, like he's angry, and he's like he's very defensive of like his turn.
He's a lot more sensitive, and he's a lot more defensive, and you know of his position as Batman. I mean, you still see him fight crime. You can see that obviously he's not. I mean, this is, you know, he's still doing that part of it, but part of him is getting a little afraid that, you know, with Superman around, especially that, you know, obviously he's not the most powerful anymore, and there's something that he can't do. You know, at first you feel like before they fight, you know, before he even knows about kryptonite or anything like that, you know, you see Batman kind of accepting the fact that, you know, I can't beat this guy no matter what I do. He's 1,000 times more powerful than I could ever be, you know, before he finds the kryptonite. But, you know, I think Ben Affleck is, I think he's the perfect Bruce Wayne, personally. I really do. I'm excited to see where this goes.
Yeah, my favorite thing about, the first thing I thought about leaving this movie, and there's some stuff at the end to make you really want to think, but the first thing I was thinking is how excited I am for the solo Batman film. Because the Batman stuff in this, like the Jeremy Irons Alfred is phenomenal, and him, like their chemistry when they're talking, I would watch a whole like 2-hour film about like just like them sitting down for coffee talking about like the past war stories. Because their chemistry was so good, and that's the thing I'm like most looking forward to. They set up the Justice League in this film, which I didn't mind. I thought they were going to cram it in a lot more, and it was going to be a little bit more. And I kind of liked how they treated it, and so I am so excited for the Batman solo film now.
Sure. I think personally, as much as I'm excited about that, which I think it'll be great, and I think that Ben Affleck, Ben Affleck will direct that movie. In my opinion, I think that Ben Affleck will direct that, and it will be great because he directed it. I think he can make a really great Batman film by himself. But watching this movie, the main thing that I took away from it was Wonder Woman, and being excited about seeing her solo film, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is the next DC property after Suicide Squad is going to be Wonder Woman. And they left, to me, you watch Wonder Woman in this movie and you see her sporadically throughout the film, and every time you see her, she gets more and more interesting throughout it. So all of that led to me being more excited than anything else about seeing, who is Wonder Woman? Why has she been around so long? Why is she powerful? Where did her powers come from? What does all of it mean? That she has always been around.
They did a very good job setting up like the mysterious aspect of her to get you intrigued, and that was the thing I liked. They kind of I don't know if you've seen Daredevil yet this season, but they did some very similar stuff with like Elektra, the first couple episodes she was in before they went into it. They just did a lot of like suspicious stuff with her, and I like that. I very much like that.
Sure. Yeah, I'm definitely with you, man.
So James, what was your thoughts on Wonder Woman?
I made a really bad criticism on the page a couple days ago. I'm not sure if you remember this, Carl, but I said that I didn't like her, if only because I think the accent was the only thing that she had in character, and everything else,
I remember that.
Was the same with Batman, where the only thing that was good about it was the action. Little did I realize that the accent was natural on her.
Yeah, so that's how she talks. Yeah, definitely. That's how she talks. Gal Gadot, I have no idea what country Gal Gadot would be from, but that's certainly not an American name or accent.
If I had to guess, probably Egypt.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wonder Woman in the comics is like from Greece, so I wonder if Gal Gadot is from Greece too, but I'm not sure. But I did like her accent because it made it seem more. It felt more like the comics, which I liked.
Yeah. No, I thought she was great. One of my favorite things that he did, that Zack Snyder chose to do, and I thought he did this incredibly effectively, was that Gal Gadot is not really like the biggest girl, and I think that's one of the criticisms when she signed on as Wonder Woman was, you're talking about the Amazon Queen, and she's supposed to be physically dominating and beautiful and all that thing, and obviously Gal Gadot is a gorgeous woman. But one of the things about her is that, I didn't think that she was as physically imposing as what I always imagined Wonder Woman would be. But the way that Zack Snyder chose to shoot her throughout the film was he got the camera real low and he looked up at her, so she always looked bigger. And Ben Affleck's a pretty big dude, and the way that Snyder chose to shoot her, it made her look as big, if not bigger, and more physically imposing than Ben Affleck was, until his workout scene, which made him look like a fucking monster.
And I would.
That was a great scene, but until that scene, Gal Gadot's looking just as big as him. There's no second of that film where she looked like she was any smaller. Or even, she looked taller and bigger than him the entire time. And I really appreciated that because of who she was supposed to be.
I think the most important thing with her is to shoot her sort of like the Joker was in The Dark Knight, where you don't need to match Batman's physical bulk or size, but just to show that you have a power over them, whether it be physical or mental, and can prove that you're more powerful than them in some way. I think that's the important part, not about size, but just exuding your presence. And I think that she did that, and with the ways that Snyder directed it, did definitely give off that hue.
Yeah, definitely.
Now we have 30 seconds
when she was fighting Doomsday, we have 3 seconds?
30 seconds.
30 seconds. Let me just drink my drink then.
Okay.
Your grain speech to you.
My favorite thing about it was her action, the action of Wonder Woman, like how they displayed that was really well. Nicely shot. And so, yeah. So, we'll be right back after our 5-minute break. Tune in live to talk with us to hear about spoilers and our thoughts on some of the major reveals that they did during this. So, yeah. See you guys in 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
James, are you going to say your famous catchphrase?
What's that? Goodbye?
Yeah. Okay, guys. We are back, and this time we're talking spoilers Batman vs. Superman with our guest, Carl Champion Jr. And so,
Spoilers. I can say anything I want now,
yeah,
right?
you can say anything. And remember, guys, spoilers. So if you're listening right now and you have not seen Batman vs Superman, leave.
Turn
because
it
there are
off.
some major spoilers. Major.
Yeah, big time.
So what? Okay, I would like to go around. Carl, you first, then James. What was your favorite spoiler / reveal thing?
That's a kind of a difficult question to answer. I think the most impactful moment for me, obviously, I'll tell you, when Batman and Superman were fighting, like during that fight scene, my heart raced like it doesn't normally race, like in a movie. Like during that fight, I mean, that's the pinnacle of everything that I've been wanting to see for so long, was them fighting each other. And during their fight, I could barely breathe because I thought it was so well done, throughout that entire time. And not knowing, what was going to happen. I didn't think that either one of them would kill the other, but just the not knowing and to watch it happen, I thought it was unbelievable. But to answer your question, before they even fought, the biggest moment for me was when Lex Luthor blew up the Congress or the House of Representatives or whatever that was. I wasn't ready for that, and when Holly Hunter turned around that glass and it said Grandma's apple juice or something
Granny's
like that.
peach tea.
Granny's peach tree. Thank you. Yeah. And then the thing blew up, and you saw Superman standing there where he knew he fucked up. That was a huge moment, man. That was so impactful for me. It was the first. It was the first holy shit moment in the movie for me that really made me say, okay, this is starting to go towards great movie status when that happened, because I was not ready for it.
The look on his face, and like it almost looked like tears were rolling down. It was just showing like he couldn't do anything, and he could tell that he messed up.
There was nothing to do. It was too late, and you knew in that moment, you knew that. And I turned around to my wife and I said this. I was like, okay, now everybody hates Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody hates him. Because no matter what, he cannot convince them that he did not have a hand in this. He didn't do this. They all invited him there. They all wanted him to come, and they said, come here, we're going to make you come clean, and we're going to try to control you. And then they all died. And I knew that everybody was going to hate him after that. So that was mine.
So, James, what was yours?
I have a few. I was going to steal the Granny's peach tea thing, but since you already said it, I think to a smaller extent, it was the Flash reveal and the whole Wonder Woman going on her computer. Because I love Ezra Miller. Mm-hmm. I mean, I adore Perks of Being a Wallflower, and I think he's a great actor with what little he's done. So to be able to see him as the Flash and getting a tease for the upcoming movie and Justice League was great. Mm-hmm. But other than that, it was the fight we saw in the trailer with Batman taking out the thugs.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
It was expanded. It was handled so well. I love the Arkham games, and it had sort of the crisp fighting type style of it. Mm-hmm. But then I also loved right at the end when the main guy and his I guess his number one goon we're holding Martha in the back room, and he breaks in, takes out the guy, and puts a bullet in the assistant's flamethrower, and then takes her around the building, just explodes. It just shows how smart he is. We can see at the return of Detective Wayne instead of the pure fighting and the deep voice of Bale's Batman.
Yeah. To say two things on what you just said, James. First with the Flash thing, when they did that, like him running, like him saying like Lois Lane, fight Lois Lane, it's like that.
Yeah, he's breaking the wibbly wobbly timey wimey stuff.
I was like, wow, I did not expect that. I was like, I never thought DC was going to go that route, because I feel like they were setting up like a Flashpoint Paradox almost story with that. Like, huge, and I was like, wow, DC is in this for the long run. This is awesome. And then with the Batman fight, that was my favorite thing I saw in the trailers. And I will admit, going to Batman vs. Superman, I wasn't even caring about the Superman-Batman fight. I was, but not as much as that fight. And then it happens after the Batman vs. Superman fight, and it was towards the end, and I was like, did they cut this out of the movie? And when that came out, that was like my favorite part.
Sure, sure. No, that makes sense. No, I agree with you. I mean, because that wasn't the most important thing to me, too, or the most interesting thing to me was their fight. It ended up being, the part that sticks to me in my mind as the most impactful moment in the movie. But going into it, I'm way more interested in what they're doing with the story. How are they juggling these two superheroes? But after I saw it, yeah, I agree. That's great.
But the biggest spoiler for me was the major one, the death of Superman, because I was watching it, and first when the nuke went off in space, and it looked like Superman was dead, and they did like a Bizarro type Easter egg here with like a skull, and I love that. But I was like, when that happened, I was like, are they gonna do a death of Superman? I was like, they're not gonna do that storyline. It's the second film. That's not gonna happen. Going into that film, I was like, there's no way Superman's gonna die in this. And then, the whole entire thing happened, and I was like, are they gonna do this for real? And then, it happened, and I was like, oh no, he's gonna come back. It's gonna be one of those eye things, the cliche thing. But then it just kept on going, the funerals kept on coming, and I was like,
yeah. I was really surprised.
And I thought that was very risky, and I felt like it went well, though.
I mean, you can't. The thing is, you can't now. They've used that, and they can't do it again. I mean, Superman died in front of our eyes, and we watched him get buried, and we watched everybody mourn over his death, and we watched, even the government who hated him celebrate. Which is one of the. I had a couple of problems with the movie, which is why I don't think it's perfect. But one of the problems I had was the fact that Superman, assumably, he destroyed Congress, when he killed, I mean, he didn't, obviously, Lex was the one that really did it, but, when he blew up the government building, in the public's eyes, Superman killed everybody. He killed all those big politicians. And, for the government to even accept him at all was surprising to me.
I feel like
the fact that they didn't even try to explain it, that kind of annoyed me. But I looked past it.
I feel like they were honoring him was the whole Doomsday fight and him saving Metropolis once again.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. He saved the day. He absolutely did. Yeah, I agree.
And I feel like Lex was found out because he did end up in jail afterwards, towards the end of the movie. So I wonder if that's something they don't cover, but something that happened, that they realized he was behind the Congress exploding and Doomsday especially too.
Well, I think I just lost my train of thought. To piggyback off of what you were saying about the whole issue with Superman's death, I also thought it was weird how they had two burials for him. If I remember correctly, his body was in the in Clark Kent's casket.
Yeah.
So what would they have done in Superman's casket?
I have no clue.
You can't just rip the uniform off him and put him back as Clark Kent and rush him off the battlefield to somewhere safe. It just seems like a huge flaw.
They were going on simultaneously too, because Ben Affleck even made a reference to that, the parties in DC. I feel like they just they didn't actually have him in that casket. It was more of just a symbol.
Yeah.
But did you guys like Doomsday?
No. It was an abomination.
It didn't bother me the way that it bothered a lot of people. A lot of people have a lot of problems with CGI in general, and obviously he was a fully CGI'd character. And, it didn't bother me because CGI never bothers me as long as it's handled reasonably well, and I feel like it was. But I can understand why a lot of people, didn't appreciate that. But, I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, Doomsday he's a creature. I mean, what are you going to do? He looks like a creature. He's going to look like a creature no matter how you shoot him. And, I mean, you can maybe use practical effects for that, but to use practical effects kind of the way that they did Jurassic Park, the original Jurassic Park, it's difficult to do something like that with a character of this magnitude. I mean, you're either going to buy it or you don't. And I bought it personally.
Yeah. My biggest thing with Doomsday was I felt like he was a Deus Ex Machina almost. I feel like they could have easily saved that down the road, even for Justice League. And the thing, The one big thing I have a criticism with the Batman vs Superman film was I don't feel like it's a Batman versus Superman film. I feel like it's a good DC film. Like you could, I almost count it as like a Marvel. I mean, not Marvel. Man of Steel
Justice
2 sequel, or
That's
like
what it's supposed to be.
Justice League pre-lock, because I walked in there thinking it was Batman vs Superman, and they have one fight, and the fight was great. I'll admit, it was like that was probably my favorite thing of the movie was their fight. But the problem was it was like a 10-minute fight scene, and that was the only Batman vs Superman thing. And I wish I didn't like how they handled it beforehand. Like Superman was reluctant to fight him. He was trying to convince him about Martha. I do like how they used that for the story, but I almost wish they would have fighted earlier, just them both furious at each other. But I do like how they did that, because they showed, though, that Batman has the ability to take Superman out. And so they needed a reason for him not to take him out. And I liked how they did that.
One thing I want to address is how the comics look into this. The two biggest stories that influence the movie are The Death of Superman and Dark Knight Returns. And the Dark Knight Returns brought upon the whole Batman vs Superman fighting, and it very much took the story of the comic. But it also handled the death of Superman through telling Doomsday, through the Death of Superman comic. What the way they handled the death, though, it echoed the sound of I just rambled. I forgot about it. Dark Knight Returns. What happens in that comic, for people who haven't read it yet or want to, is that right before Superman gets back his powers and can fight back, Bruce Wayne faints hard. He's buried. And the public does the same thing, where a Batman died along with Bruce Wayne. Except for this time, Bruce Wayne shows up at his own funeral, in like the background Clark knows. And I think that was one the thing with the Death of Superman comic. That Superman's in a healing coma. And they do show that within this. As the last shot of the movie is as Stewart slowly flies up. What do you guys think about the combination of the two comics?
I liked it. The one thing, my dad's a huge Superman fan, and he's probably the biggest comic book nerd fan I know. And the first thing I got in the car was like, did he use the ring? Because my dad's like favorite thing is the kryptonite ring. That like he would beat the crap out, and I was like, no, they used a spear. And I was like, my dad's heart broke because he wanted the ring so much. Yeah. I do.
Well, I don't think that part's over. I think Batman is mostly out of kryptonite, but I think he saved enough to have that ring.
Oh yeah,
and honestly, I mean, one punch from that ring, and Superman is pretty much debilitated in a period of time, but enough for Batman to hurt him. You know, I'm sure he has enough for that.
What was that, James?
I remember one of the things I did in the comics of one of the cartoon series was that Batman always had a hidden supply of kryptonite somewhere. Just on the off chance Superman did go rogue, like what happened in the Injustice game and comic series. So we could see an echo of that in the later Justice League film, or we could have a sequel to this, where what happens in the Injustice comic is that Joker tricks Superman into killing Lois Lane, so that he kills the Joker and tries to unite the world under a totalitarian government. And that's where we can see Batman break out the excess kryptonite and really give it to Superman a second time, maybe actually kill him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff in this film. So my other thing was the one of the biggest things I've heard that are halfway through. I don't know what I'm saying. I can't speak words right now. Have a mixed reaction. Was Lex Luthor and his portrayal. What was Carl? I want to hear your thoughts first, and then James. What was your guys' thoughts on the Lex Luthor portrayal? Because I know a lot of people are hating on it. I loved his portrayal. And I know it's not like the traditional comic book portrayal, but I love how they did that like brat young kid thing, and I feel like they pulled it off well.
Well, yeah, that was one of the first things I appreciated about the movie in general was the fact that he was playing the son of the real Lex Luthor, and obviously in this universe, the Lex Luthor of old didn't really know about Superman or have any kind of dealings with him. But I thought it was great in a lot of ways. I think that a lot of people are thrown off by the fact that he was not likable. And one of the most important moments of the movie, in my opinion, was when Lex was throwing this big party and he was up there and he was trying to he was trying to give a speech and make it like an impactful, impactful moment, and it didn't work. It wasn't impactful. Nobody really understood. He was stuttering, and the things he was saying weren't funny, but he was laughing, and I feel like that's a really important thing for his character because Lex, this version of Lex was a little scared of not being powerful. That's the reason that he hated Superman, was that Superman was so all powerful, and he wanted to prove that he could control the most powerful thing in the world because he knew he wasn't the most powerful thing in the world. And I think that's why he told that story about when his dad used to beat him, or however that story went. He told that story about how his dad used to make him do what he said and beat him if he didn't. And I feel like that plays into this version of Lex. He seeks power because he didn't have it. He's never had it. He wants power because his dad was always so much more powerful than he was, and there's nothing that he could do about it.
To bring up what you said about his dad beating him, that probably developed a lot into his character too. How he had the nervous twitch, and how he always wanted to be better than he could be, and how he thought he could finally be respected by taking down a literal god. And I don't know, it shows his psychopathy when he knows the direct way into Superman's heart to kill the Batman. And no matter what, Martha was going to die. There was no way that Lex was going to let her live. Just the pure genius of what he did, of getting Superman to kill his one main competitor, being weakened, and then having Doomsday kill him. It showed utter genius in Lex's character. I think it's not getting enough respect because of all the other flaws surrounding the movie and how it didn't exactly keep accurate to comic lore. That's what Snyder did. He changed the characters and created their own personalities within the universe. We can probably see more of that develop throughout the rest of the movies, like Wonder Woman and Justice League and whatnot.
Yeah, my favorite thing about the Lex Luthor was how he knew who Batman was and who he knew who they were, and they didn't hide that at all. Sure. And the other thing that the thing I see people hating him on, they're saying he's too annoying, he's too bratty, and I love that about him because it almost reminds me of a King Joffrey, in Game of Thrones, where he's so evil, so annoying, I just want him dead. But
socially inept enough that you can't connect with a character, and the only way to get rid of him is for the main character to kill him off.
Yeah. Oh, and during that manipulative scene on top of the rooftop with LexCorp, I was so wanting Superman to just punch him and fly him across the bay, towards Batman almost. That would have been so funny.
If you just picked him off the roof and he landed on 120 stories below.
Yeah, because I was oh, Lex Luthor is dead. He pushed that one nerve that shouldn't be pushed. But then he gets out of it so instantly by bringing up everything. He's so manipulative, and I liked how that was portrayed. I know a lot of people didn't, but I personally like this version of Lex Luthor. And I like how they also removed it and call him Lex Luthor Jr., so it's not like he is Lex Luthor.
I'm glad he's still alive. I'm glad he's still alive, personally. I'm glad he's able to continue. I feel like the next time we see Superman, when he comes back to life or whatever he does, I feel like Lex is going to be the villain of that situation.
Yeah.
and I'm glad he's still alive to do that because I agree with you. I think he was good.
Hmm.
Quick question for you guys. What are your opinions on Lois Lane being, I guess, somewhat a Mary Sue in the movie, just to steal from Star Wars?
Carl, what are your thoughts?
Obviously, the most impactful woman in the movie was Wonder Woman for me. I thought her scenes were a lot better than hers, and I feel like if there's one complaint that you can have about the Man of Steel series, and it really started with the first Man of Steel movie, was the chemistry between. I don't really think the chemistry between Cavill and Adams is really there. There's very little chemistry between them. They don't. There's no back and forth, honestly, between them. Even that scene in the bathtub when they're supposed to be close and it's supposed to build that relationship. There just wasn't a lot there. And I feel like even now there's just. I get that they're together. I don't really get why he loves her. I mean, obviously he's Superman, so I get why she loves him. But it never really. They never really built that relationship between those two. In my eyes, I don't see it.
I feel like that stuff should have been like well developed in a Man of Steel 2, but just because of how crowded this film was, they had to kind of take a back seat. But
now, I don't want to give them. I'm not giving them a pass on that because they decided what movie to make when. So I'm not giving them a pass.
I wish
if they couldn't build that relationship enough in the first film, then they didn't do it, and that's their fault. Yeah. In my opinion.
I definitely wish they would have made a Man of Steel 2 before this. Because I feel like the stakes going even into this would be a lot more huge. But
I think the stakes would have been bigger, but I don't know if I agree that they should have made Man of Steel 2 first. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know where else you're going with Man of Steel. It's already hard enough to make a Superman movie. Yeah. I don't know where else you're going. I really don't know where else you're going with that. I mean, what villain is left?
I'm still wanting a Brainiac. And I know that's going to be so weird to see on film, but I would love to see Brainiac.
I think they'll get it. I think they'll do that. I think he'll be a part of a Justice League movie. I honestly believe that if they get the Justice League movie done, which after this one I'm fairly confident that will happen, I think Brainiac or some subsidiary of Brainiac will be the main villain of that movie.
Yeah, and I feel like the problem with Superman is almost like the problem Marvel has with Hulk. Like, with a guy that's that strong and powerful, it's like, when there's a threat for him, it's a threat big enough for a team movie. And I feel like they're having the same problem.
I think that's true. True.
Yeah.
The Man You Hear
that is both of them are the biggest problems.
Go ahead, James.
The main issue here is that they're both invincible characters. The Hulk gets stronger and bigger the more he gets angry. Superman, the comic writers have for decades. They can give him any powers he wants because he's Superman. He's supposed to be the person you can look to for whatever help you can. And just what you guys saying about the villain argument, what would you guys think of going back to what I said earlier about having a injustice kind of story where Superman becomes a villain and everyone in the entire DC universe has to come together to try and take him down?
I like that idea. I feel like that's how they should do. Like, I don't think that should be the first Justice League film, because he would be coming back alive, and he would be like his big reveal. But I think definitely like the third or second Justice League film should be like almost like a Civil War type story where everyone's going rogue and attacking each other.
I mean, of course, that's not for a few years down the line. Probably for what it's been 12 years from Iron Man to Infinity War, so yeah, probably like a decade close to that time we can finally develop the characters enough so we can start caring for them. So when he goes evil, we feel betrayed on our own.
Yeah. Now we have 5 minutes left before we have to end the show. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on the Flash, Aquaman, and is it Cyborg, right?
Cyborg, yes. Cyborg review.
Yeah, what was your guys' thoughts on each and like how they showed? And we can go in order too. So we kind of already discussed the Flash, but what did you guys think about his reveal?
I mean, for
I
me,
think you
go ahead, Jay. Well, no, I was just gonna say. I mean, I think that the whole to me the Flash is like my favorite comic book character ever, and for me to see him on screen, I couldn't have been more excited. I wasn't sure how they were gonna handle. I knew they cast all the other superheroes, but I wasn't sure how they were gonna handle it. And just seeing Flash outside of the scene where Batman was having his, I don't know if you want to call it his flashback or his flash forward or whatever the vision was, which I believe that was Flash talking to him during that scene, showing him the future. But yeah, that's what I believe was happening. But just showing Flash like handle that bit of crime at the store, I was cheering in the theater when that happened. I was literally, really cheering. I loved that part. But I mean, all of them were really cool. And Lindsay, my wife, she really appreciated the Aquaman part, and all of them were cool. I thought all of them were really
when
cool.
those eyes in the Aquaman part, like the blue eyes showed up, I was like, oh, so Aquaman can be cool. And that was pretty much my first thought. And going back to the Flash,
I think by far, like, the Flash was the best introduced, because it seemed like the most realistic how you would find a superhero like that. Where you just see some camera footage from a gas station. It seems like the most accurate way someone would find a superhero in real life. Aquaman and Cyborg, not so much. He just out there to shoot in.
Mm-hmm. I get what you're saying with that. And my favorite thing about the thing was that you could tell he had that smirk on his face. Flash did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
I do feel like the Cyborg theme was a little, but I see how they get all the footage. Like, I feel like that's classified stuff, and LexCorp being LexCorp has the ability to get it. But I think the Aquaman was a little bit more of a stretch in the convenience store, but still plausible. But I didn't like how long they took with Cyborg. So I feel like Cyborg is a character that not many people know and aren't that interested in. I do kind of like how they did his origin, though, so that people would be familiar with it. But I did think that took way too long, and that they were taking too much time with Cyborg.
His origin, maybe people don't know, but with our generation, we grew up with shows like Teen Titans, and the generation below us, they have Teen Titans Go. So they're probably familiar with the character, so the idea of the origin being shown for a character they love without the full image being shown, I think it was handled somewhat well. But like in the scene, right before he gets animated back to life, you see the little cube in the corner, which is animated just horribly. It looks just like you put something from Photoshop in there.
Yep. So we have 2 minutes left. So let's go around and give our base review. 1 out of 10, Carl. Since you're not familiar with it, we give it 1 out of 10, our base review, after first seeing it. So I'll start with you, Carl, as our guest.
1 out of 10, 10 being the highest.
Yep.
I give it a 9, personally. Other than the few problems that I had with it, which keeps it away from a perfect score for me, I definitely give it a 9. I was fully engaged, fully entertained the entire 2.5 hours. I didn't feel like there was a huge dip in it. A lot of people complained that the first hour was so much setup that it took away from the overall, feeling of the movie. But to me, I appreciated that setup, and I give it a 9, definitely.
James?
I have to agree with Carl. I gave it like a high 8, a 9. I think the biggest part of that, outside of being a fan, is the theater experience. I saw it at a 6 o'clock showing on Thursday night. So I was in a theater full of super fans. So during the movie and on our way out, I just heard everyone just raving about the connections and stuff. And it felt so good to finally be surrounded by people who think likewise in real life. So, and along with that, the action was handled so well and the story was handled so well. The only flaws I have with the movie are deviating from the lore, which Snyder addressed to create his own unique characters, and I thought he did that really well.
Mine's almost like you with the theater experience. This was the first film I've seen in like IMAX or XD, whatever it's called. So that was my first time ever seeing that. So it was really good on screen, and I would give it a strong 9 as well. And I think that it's not a perfect movie, but it definitely is, like you said, Carl, like very enjoyable all the way through. So thank you guys for watching our or listening to our second episode. Thank you, Carl. Remember the Film Club. Check it out on Facebook and on
Please,
YouTube.
please join us at Film Club. Please.
Okay. Good.